thank you to everybody for coming. I'm just briefly going to let you know who we are. So we are a group of young people who have Duchenne, who have been working on an online skills project to put on an event for you. So I'm going to hand over to Josh now.
Hello everyone, I'm Josh. Thank you for coming to our event about anime. We're really happy to have this chance to talk to you about anime for the next 90 minutes and share our interests and knowledge with you. During this event, we'll be going through a PowerPoint looking at the history of anime and different genres and characters. And there'll also be some video montages of ourselves saying why we like anime and our favorite characters. And there will be a multiple choice quiz at the end with a prize. So thank you everyone for coming.
So if we all could introduce ourselves. So I'm Kath. I work for Pathfinders as an engagement officer. And then if you guys could introduce yourselves.
I'm Josh. I've been an anime fan for over 10 years and I've just left my college a few months ago and now living in a residential house in Alton.
Thanks, Josh.
My name's Travis, and I've been watching anime since I've been since 8 years old. I've been a massive anime fan for years, and I have many favorites, and I always find myself watching it at some point.
Thanks, Travis.
My name is Ben, and I've been watching anime for 2 years, and I'm interested in the art style and some of the stories in anime.
Brilliant, Ben, thank you. So we've put together some information about anime to give you a bit of an idea about the background of anime, some of the different genres, and take a look at some of the most iconic characters. Also, if you're interested, where else you can visit after this event. So anime, an introduction, what's it all about? So first of all, who are we? I asked Travis, Ben, Josh this, and we're anime fans.
Yeah.
So in the Oxford English Dictionary, anime is a style of Japanese film and television animation typically aimed at adults as well as children. During this presentation, you're going to hear about the history of anime, the different genres, some characters, and what next, where you can find out more. We'll start off with the history of anime. So it's shortened from the word animation, which is just the Japanese pronunciation of the word animation. And you probably think, if you've seen it or you don't know much about it, you probably think of anime as large eyes and colourful, funky hair. Or maybe you think of it as Pokemon. In English, the word anime describes animation from Japan. But in Japan, anime describes all animated works regardless of style or origin. And I believe, Travis, that's open to debate, isn't it? Whether or not it can be called animation or anime,
yeah,
and not be made in Japan. That's still open to debate whether or not that's the case or not. A bit like champagne. Next slide, please, John. Thank you. So we're just going to take you through a quick timeline of anime. So it goes back right back before 1907, actually. It's all about legends and storytelling, but the earliest known animation was actually 3 seconds of private work by an unknown creator. And if you pass on to the next slide, John, you'll see that in a bit bigger, how very basic the animation is. So that was in 1907. Do you fancy pronouncing that for me, Travis?
Katsudo Shoshin.
Brilliant, thank you. Much better than I can do. So then from there on, the next slide. Ten years later, the first professional and publicly displayed works appeared. And we can see that a bit larger in the next slide. Are you up for that one?
Yeah, I think it's pronounced Kochi's Namakura Gatana.
Thank you. And that's the oldest surviving anime. So most of them were lost in an earthquake in 1923. So that moves on to 1933, and it was the first what we call talkie anime. So one with speech and sound. It had synchronized sound to it. You can move that to a bit of a larger one, thank you. So this was about the world of power and women. Travis, do you fancy speaking that one for me?
It's pronounced Chikara to Ona no Yo no Naka.
Oh, you're so much better at it than I am, thank you. And that's a short film. And it's the protagonist is a father of 4 children. And that's the guy you can see there. And his wife is 180 centimeters tall. She's quite tall and weighs 120 kilograms. It's stated that because he feels constantly henpecked at home, he becomes involved in an affair with the typist at his company that he works at, and accidentally tells his wife about it while talking in his sleep. And so after obtaining additional information, she confronts both the husband and the typist at his husband's office. So can we move on to the next one, please? So that brings us up to 1945, and that was the first feature-length anime film called, Travis?
Momotaro Sacred Sailors.
So this was a propaganda film for World War II, and it was for the Japanese Naval Ministry. Move on to the next one. So in 1960, the first film was broadcast on television called Three Tales. And the program was divided into 3 parts featuring individual fairy tales, and they were children's stories of the time. One was called The Third Plate, then the Opal and the Elephant, and Sleepy Town. And they had some live action in between that from a singer and dancer. It was 30-minute anthology. So we're coming up to the more modern times now. In 1970, there was a growth in popularity of manga. And that's when Mobile Suit Gundam.
It's pronounced Gundam.
Thank you. Super. So this is probably, for those of you that know and enjoy anime, this is probably quite recognizable. So the characteristics and genres remain fundamental elements of anime today. So this was the start of the mecha giant robot genre being developed, and we'll hear a little bit more about that later. In 1984, in the bubble economy, it was a new era of high budget and experimental anime films. Want to read that title for me, Travis?
Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
So that's a film written and directed by
Hayao Miyazaki.
Based on his 1982 manga. And it's a story of a young princess in a post-apocalyptic world. This is frequently ranked among the best animated films in Japan, and it's seen by the critics as influencing on the development of anime and of that of Studio Ghibli.
Ghibli.
Thank you. So in 2003, it was the very first animation or anime to receive an Academy Award as Best Animated Feature. It was the 75th Academy Awards and Spirited Away by Studio Ghibli. And that brings us to Anime Today. So next up, we've got a little bit about genre and subgenre. Do you want to talk us through these, Travis?
Yeah, sure. So these genres that you're seeing on the screen now, they are genres related to the demographic and the audience that watch the anime. So you have shonen. Shonen is usually for young boys between the age of 12 to 16. Shoujo is for young girls between the ages of 12 to 16, so they cater towards girls. Seinen is for 18 or plus audiences. Kath, I don't know why, but I've forgotten what Josei was.
That's all right. I've got notes. Don't worry. So that's for female viewers, again, between the ages of 18 to 40. So similar to Seinen.
Yeah. And then Kodomo Muke or Kodomo. I forgot what that one is as well.
So that's for children.
Yeah.
So it's a 3 to 10-year-old range. It's usually more gender neutral. So yeah. I think it translates from Japanese as intended for children.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you. So on to the next slide, please, John. So there are lots of genre. Do you want to pick a few of these, Travis, for us and explain some of the ones that we might not really recognise on here?
Sure. Yeah, there's quite a few that people may not recognise. There is isekai, which isekai is a broad term for anime that genuinely feature a story where the character is transported to a different world from their normal one. What other ones are there?
What about mecha?
Oh, mecha. So mecha is anime that feature giant robots as used as some sort of military technology in that story. And it's usually focused on those giant robots.
Slice of life?
Slice of life are usually anime that usually just show a character or many characters' general life experience and their development through life in a somewhat realistic way, but it's usually for comedy and to be a fun kind of thing to watch.
What about harem?
Harem anime can feature either a male or female protagonist. And when it's a male protagonist, it's usually a bunch of girls that are in love with the man, the male protagonist, or a bunch of men who are in love with the female protagonist. So it's just about the main character having a lot of love interests.
And what about parody?
Parody is just anime that just take the mick. They're just there for joke, humor, not to be taken seriously. They might parody other anime and other media.
Thank you. Brilliant. So I think we're going to move on. We're going to see a few examples of some different genre. So this is Hunter x Hunter. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about this?
Hunter x Hunter is a story about the main character Gon, and he's trying to find his dad, who is a hunter, and he becomes a hunter to find his dad, basically.
And that's a shonen anime. Thanks, John. Sorry.
Are you sure about this? Yeah. When you were just a baby, your father abandoned you to be a hunter. You know that, don't you? I do.
Gon really did it. He actually caught the master.
I want to find out why it was so important to my dad. That's why I've got to do it. I promise you I'll pass the exam. The next time you see me, I will be a hunter.
There are as many hunter wannabes in this world as there are stars in the sky.
I am called Kurapika.
The name is Leorio.
That's where people like me come in to pick up the slack. The hunter exam has already started.
It has?
All 404 applicants will now participate in Phase 1.
Why do you want to be a hunter? Is it really just about the money?
Oh, sorry, but I don't have some big noble cause like you do.
My name's Killua. Hi, I'm Gon.
Now why do you boys want to become hunters?
My entire clan was annihilated by a band of criminals. That is why I want to become a hunter.
You know it's a suicide mission, right?
Keep in mind that there's a very real chance you could end up seriously injured. Death is another distinct possibility.
The hunter exam isn't the time or the place for showing mercy.
Promise you'll come home safe. Think you can do that for me?
Yep, I sure can.
Looks really good. So next up, we have a Seinen?
Yes, Seinen, yeah.
Seinen, which is a mystery, psychological and supernatural genre.
Yeah.
It's one of the highly ranked ones, isn't it? This one, this Death Note. There's a lot about that over the internet. There's quite a lot of people that are talking about it. There's been a film made from it as well, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not very good film, though.
You'd say the anime was better?
Yes. Could I say a little bit about what the anime is about quickly?
Yes, please, yeah.
So the anime is about the main character, Light Yagami. He's the one with the brown hair and brown eyes, and he finds a notebook that if you write someone's name in it, they die.
Look around. There are plenty of things this world could do without. Immorality, sin, crime. It's time for a change. I have the power to make the world, to make people better, and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm not afraid to kill. How and when it happens is entirely in my hands. All I need is a name, a face, a pen, and this notebook. No one can stop me.
I'm chasing someone without a name or face. Someone who believes he's on a righteous path, ridding the world of criminals. But his brand of justice is misaligned. By acting as a god, he himself has become the criminal. It's my duty, no, my calling to find him and show him what justice truly means. You'll hear me, but you'll never see me coming. And when I find him, his capture will be the world's liberation. I'll uncover Kira's real identity if it's the last thing I do.
I swear, I am justice. Kill me if you can.
Looks really good.
Yeah, Death Note is very good.
On to the next one.
Look around.
So the next one is Howl's Moving Castle. So this is a film. All the others that we've shown so far are series, and this is a film. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this, Travis?
Yeah, basically the basic premise for Howl's Moving Castle is it's based off of a book. And in the movie, it is about the main character, Sophie, and how she gets cursed by a witch to be an old woman. And she basically ends up trying to get Howl's help to basically, well, actually, she doesn't get Howl's help. It's like he ends up helping her in the end. But it's like a love story. They both fall in love. And then Sophie at the end, she's not like an old woman anymore.
And that's in the adventure and fantasy genre.
Yeah,
right?
It's like an adventure film, yeah.
From master filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki, the director of the Academy Award-winning Spirited Away.
That is ancient sorcery. And quite powerful, too.
This summer, experience the epic tale of a young woman transformed by a mysterious curse.
That's really me, isn't it?
An enchanted moving castle.
This is a magic house.
And the one wizard powerful enough to set her free.
This charm will guarantee your safe return.
Walt Disney Studios presents a Studio Ghibli production of a Hayao Miyazaki film.
Hold on.
This June, journey to amazing new worlds.
Find me in the future!
Aboard Howl's Moving Castle.
That's a great example of where anime has become quite mainstream, isn't it? Because it's been taken over by Disney. We can go on to the next one, please, John. So what's this one about, Travis?
I've never actually watched Revolutionary Girl Utena. I just know that it's a good example of a shoujo one and like a magical girl story.
Brilliant.
I've heard a lot about it.
Good reviews?
Yeah, everyone says it's really good. It's a very short trailer.
Yeah.
Gives you a good idea.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
So what's this one?
So this is one of my favorite anime, probably of all time. Neon Genesis Evangelion. The basic premise is it's about a boy named Shinji who is asked by his father to pilot a giant robot called an Evangelion, basically protect his city.
And I believe that it starts off as a shonen, doesn't it? And then becomes...
Well, it doesn't start off as a shonen. It starts off as like a typical mecha series. Okay. And then it kind of develops into psychological.
So the age range sort of changes from the first episode to the...
No,
as it's moved on.
It is meant for older people from the start. It's just that it seems like a typical mecha show, but then it gets more dark as it goes on.
Brilliant. Another good one. So next we're just going to briefly look at some characters that we talked about that might be good examples of some of the characters within anime. Do you want to talk us through these, Travis?
Sure. Put through all of them.
Just introduce them first, and then we'll go through them one by one.
Sure. Okay, so the first character is Goku from Dragon Ball Z. He's one of the main characters of it. Well, the main character. You have Juno from Beastars. She is the fourth protagonist of the story. You've got Shinji Ikari, who's the main character of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And you have Griffith, who is actually the main villain of a manga / anime called Berserk.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So do you want to talk us through this one for us?
Sure.
First?
Okay. Goku was originally sent to destroy Earth. A head injury at an early age alters his memories, ridding him of his initial destructive nature and allowing him to grow up to become one of Earth's greatest defenders. Goku provides a good example of an anime role model. Goku has a pure heart with no negative feelings, is loyal, willing to sacrifice himself to save others, has no interest in luxury or high-ranking positions.
Are you a fan of this character?
Yes, I do like Goku. He can be quite stupid at times, but he's a very good character.
Brilliant.
Juno is a member of the drama club on the actor team. She wished to become the next B-star. Basically, that's to explain what that is. The B-star is like the best student from their school to represent them. Awarded to beasts that manage to stand out in society as leaders and unite carnivores and herbivores, despite the difference between the respective species. Juno is social and treats all animals with kindness, has charisma, is ambitious, is idealistic, and believes in creating a better world for carnivores.
One of your favourite characters or not?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shinji. I do like Shinji, actually. He is a good character. Shinji is the pilot of Evangelion Unit 1. After his mother's death, he was abandoned by his father, who's a bioengineer and commander of Nerve, and lived for 11 years with his teacher. Shinji initially shows a passive and laid-back personality, inheriting such traits from his relaxed life with his teacher. Is introverted. In social party situations, he's known to be quite uncomfortable. And another thing about Shinji is that he has a lot of inner conflict throughout the story about himself and how he feels about everyone else around him.
What's the Nerve Commander?
So the company that built the Evangelion unit is called Nerve, and his father is Gendo Ikari.
I hope everyone's listening because there's a quiz at the end and Travis is helping out with a lot of the answers here. Next question. Sorry, next slide.
So Griffith is the main villain of Berserk. As a child, Griffith lived in poverty to the point where he at times couldn't even afford a slice of bread. It is in the back alleys of his childhood city where he first set his sights on acquiring his own kingdom. Griffith is well-mannered and comes across as almost noble, has a strong sense of ambition and conviction, employs callous logic and reasoning, placing higher precedence on success than compassion.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, he isn't really that nice.
Doesn't sound like a villain so much, does he?
Oh, you were saying that, yeah. Well,
yeah.
It doesn't sound much like a villain, but he becomes a villain because he puts his dreams as the most important thing over other people.
Thank you. So what next? If you don't know much about anime and you're here because you want to find out more and you think this sounds really good, I wouldn't mind getting involved, where can we go? So this isn't just this is not a comprehensive list by all means, it's just some ideas. So we've got Funimation, which is a streaming service within the UK. So you can watch more there. You can obviously go to Netflix because they stream anime. You can they have their own dedicated section just of anime. There's also the Anime League, which is for anime fans and gaming fans and cosplay. And it brings people together on online forums, social media, and they have meetups as well. And they run over 50 events. One of those being the anime and gaming cons. Has anyone been to one of these here?
Yes, I have.
Was it good?
I really enjoyed it.
What sort of thing do you get up to at an anime and gaming con?
Well, obviously you got the anime fans and people doing cosplay for anime and figure games, and there's some people actually bring in retro gaming consoles, and you could play the games, and there's tournaments and all sorts of things. So there's a lot to do.
Did you dress up?
Yes, I did.
What did you go as? You're going to share?
I went as someone from an anime called One Piece, which is about pirates.
So there is one of those in Manchester. They are all over the country, but there's definitely one in Manchester. I think that's up and coming. So also their animation courses, Travis and I had a conversation about this early on, and there isn't anywhere that you can actually study anime in itself, but there are 62 universities that offer 122 courses in animation across the UK. As I said before, it isn't specific to anime, but it is in animation. So you could put elements of that in there and learn elements that you need for anime. Anything else that we want to add in here before we finish up, Travis?
There is another streaming service called Crunchyroll, which is pretty good as well.
Is that free, or is that sort of similar cost to Netflix? Or
Funimation, Netflix, and Crunchyroll, they will have similar prices. Funimation is actually cheaper because it's like £4, while Crunchyroll's a £5 and Netflix is a £5.
And is it similar things that you can view on them, or do you have to go onto the different ones for different animes?
It depends. Netflix doesn't have some anime, Funimation doesn't have some, Crunchyroll doesn't have some. Some have more than others.
Okay, thank you. Brilliant. So we've just got one more slide. So we had to credit this slide because we used a template from Slides Go. But thank you, everyone. And has anybody got any questions? If they have, then just pop them in the chat.
So, so I asked some people I knew around the college. Oh, we've got a few questions.
Oh, have we? Oh,
yeah.
We'll go to them first, shall we? Is that all right with you?
Yeah, sure.
So Charlotte was in there as well, Josh. She asked, what did you wear when you dressed up as a character?
So it's kind of like wears a hat, a bright yellow jumper, and just jeans. So it's quite basic, but if you know that anime, it's quite recognizable.
And comfortable, I'd imagine.
It was very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a question from Maria as well. What is your favourite anime film? I think some of you might tell her this, so you might want to tell us something that you haven't done in the video. So we've got a video coming up, haven't we, Travis? Which you're going to tell them a bit more in a minute. So do you want to share what your favourite anime film is? All three of you.
I'll tell you my favourite anime film was the Howl's Moving Castle, which is what we saw earlier. That's a really great anime film, and I really enjoyed that.
What about you, Travis?
It's hard, but I think I'd have to say probably Akira is probably my favorite anime film.
What's that about?
That one's about the future in Japan, and there's been like a nuke that went off a couple of years ago, and it basically destroyed Japan. They built a new one called Neo Tokyo, and it's kind of interesting. One of the characters gets telepathic powers, and it's quite an interesting movie.
Thank you. What about you, Ben?
I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but there's a film called My Neighbor Totoro.
Totoro.
Oh, Totoro. And I enjoy watching that sometimes.
I was recommended to try that one as an entry into anime, Ben, so that sounds like a good one. So somebody else asked a question as well. We've got a question from Ellie. How did you get into watching anime?
Well, when I was much younger, I actually got recommended by all of my carers. They just said you should watch this, and I watched it and I liked it, and ever since then I've really gotten into it. So that's about 10 years ago. They just suggested it to me, and I just went from there, really.
What about you, Ben?
Well, I think it's kind of Josh that got me into it, but I think I mostly just found things on Netflix that they were a bit weird, but then I got into it after that when I started watching like more popular ones.
There's going to be a question about that in a minute. I'm going to go back to because John's put a question in there as well. Thank you. Travis?
So I remember it quite well now because I used to forget what actually introduced me, but I remember it was my uncle recommended my dad to watch one, which was called Naruto, and I ended up sitting and watching it with my dad, and my dad recommended me to watch it. So I took the box set that he had of Naruto and I watched it. And I got into anime since then, and I've been watching it ever since.
Thank you. So John's asked, he said it was a great presentation and you learned a lot. But what is the strangest anime you've ever watched? So because Ben mentioned that, can we go to Ben first?
That is a good question.
It is, isn't it?
I'm not sure about this one, but I think there was one called High School DxD, which was quite weird. And I didn't really, I haven't watched much of it because I thought it was too weird.
Travis?
That's hard because that's a hard question because I've watched so many out there anime. Well, I haven't watched that many, but I know of some. I think I might say the weirdest one I watched was probably an anime called Elfen Lied, but it was only weird because it was just a show about this girl who had invisible arms, and it was really violent. She just tore people to shreds, but like the story was terrible. It was just gore and violence for the sake of it, and it was the violence just pushed the envelope quite far, and I thought it was a bit strange for that.
Sounds like some of the games that you can get on consoles to me. Josh, what about you?
I'd say, not sure if anyone's already said this, but I think there's a comment about it, but definitely Food Wars. Like, because it does get quite weird, some of the reactions. I mean, okay, this is very strange, but I did enjoy it. It's just a bit weird sometimes for me.
So John said that he likes Food Wars on Netflix, and it's about people getting way too excited about food. He thinks it's a parody genre, maybe. It's actually a shonen, surprisingly.
It is.
I think somebody else is going to mention that in a little while as well about cooking as well in some of the anime. So Saul has said that he likes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Did anybody watch that?
Yeah, I'm watching the new season today.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love it. There's a new season out today, actually.
Yeah, I really like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I have a bit of obsession with the guy, not an obsession with the guy who made it, but I just like what he does in it. I like just some of the choices he makes story-wise. Like I like the fact that a lot of their powers are named after rock bands and music references. So I like that about it. And the style of it is very colourful and vivid, and I like that.
Yeah. Brilliant. So we're gonna move on now, aren't we? So do you want to introduce the next section, Travis?
Sure. So the next section is I asked around college and some other people. I asked Kath to contact, I think, to just see if we could get just videos of people saying their favorite genre and their favorite characters and stuff. So it's just videos that we've recorded.
So we've got a montage we've put together for you to enjoy and find out a bit about what we like about anime.
Okay.
Hello, I am Anthony Price. I am 37 years old with spinal muscular atrophy type 2, but more importantly, I am a huge, huge anime fan. I've been an anime fan since I was a small boy, back in the 80s. My love of action cartoons and the action genre in the 80s led me into the world of anime, particularly that of shonen anime. For those of you that don't know, shonen translated means teen boy. It's a genre of anime on its own, where the main character has some sort of rival or enemy or obstacle to overcome, and they have to do that by learning to be more powerful, learning to be better than what they are. Things like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, it even encompasses the sport genre, things like Haikyuu, Kuroko's basketball. There are so many shonen animes, and I think my favourite currently is a show called My Hero Academia, which is about Deku, or Midoriya, as he's also known. He is born into a world where everybody has a superpower. Some people use it for good, some people use it for bad, some people just use it to get on with their daily lives. But Deku is what they call quirkless, and he's born without any superpower whatsoever, but he still wants to be the number one superhero. He still wants to be that person that's there at the end of the day that saves the world. And he's got this real drive to be the number one hero. And the current number one hero takes him under his wing and gives him the power, and he joins the prestigious superhero academy, and it's about his journey into becoming the hero that he wants to be. And I think for me, it's that sense of overcoming, and it's that sense of driving forward that appealed to me the most with the anime. There's always, being disabled, there's always something to overcome. There's always some sort of obstacle to defeat. And even as an adult, I think that really, really resonates. So I think that's why I'm particularly drawn to shonen anime, because I do lean more into the TV side of anime rather than the film side of anime, partly because I prefer the nature of TV. I like knowing that there's more story to come and that I'm going to get to spend some more time with those characters. I was actually very fortunate in that I did have a job for a short time writing reviews about anime. It was a case of being in the right place at the right time. Somebody had read my work as an author, really liked it. They knew that I enjoyed anime anyway, so they gave me a position as a staff writer and reviewer of all things anime, which was what I'm getting to write about, you know, something I already love anyway. But yeah, I think my favourite anime at the moment definitely would have to be My Hero Academia, which is massive. You may have even heard of it. Other than that, I guess my other favourite would be Haikyuu, which is, again, it's a shonen anime in the sport genre, which is about a high school volleyball team, which I never expected to enjoy in a million years, but it's absolutely fantastic and has me hooked every episode. But yeah, that is my favourite anime, and as I say, I think it appeals to me the most because it is about overcoming it. It's about fighting it. It's about staying true to who you are, whilst also being better than who you are. I think a lot of disabled people that will resonate and would really, really appeal. So yeah, that is me on anime. And as I say in anime, ganbatte. Good luck.
Hello, I'm Josh. I've been watching anime for about 10 years now. My favourite type of genre of anime, I would say, is kind of fighting and action animes. All the top ones are out, which that genre is called Shonen Jump. My favourite anime, I would say, would be Dragon Ball Z, because it's the anime I first started watching. What I like about it is that it's very dramatic. It's a lot of action, which really catches my attention, and the fight scenes sometimes feel very realistic the way they move. My favourite character on the series would be Vegeta, and I just like how he acts. Like, he's quite a cocky and arrogant character, and he's just very cool, and I like the way he progresses and how his character changes throughout the years of the story.
Hi everyone, I'm John, and I love watching anime. My favorite is probably Attack on Titan. I just really like how they've developed the story over several seasons, and just love the twists and turns. It's been a bit gory, as is a lot of the anime stuff. I also like Elfen Lied, which is a really kind of dark and, again, another really gruesome one. I really like Sword Art Online, actually, just because the concept of that is that it's basically like a really advanced form of virtual reality where people put on a headset and get transported to a game world, but it like links to your kind of your brain waves, and just like a neural interface. So it means that you kind of go into the game and everyone's like on an equal basis. So I just like the idea of kind of being able to interact with people without a disability, and being able to interact with the whole world, which is quite exciting for me when I watched that the first time. I also really like Code Geass, but I think that's mainly because it reminds me of a game that we've been playing recently called Trails of Cold Steel, and I just love the feel of that. There's so many more that I would like to mention. I won't go into too much detail, but I loved Death Note. I really like the concept of that. Steins Gate. I just love a bit of sci-fi. Full Metal Alchemist. That was one of the first that I watched. I just love the feel of the world and the creativity of it. And the recent show on Netflix that I watched is Knights of Sidonia, and yeah, I really enjoyed that actually. Yeah, I love anime just because it's so creative, and I just love sci-fi and fantasy. So yeah, it's perfect for me.
At the moment, my favorite anime, which is One Piece, my favorite character, which is Zoro, Sandori. This is my favorite anime. Yeah, because why I like him, because he let me feel about he very honest with friend. Once he trust someone else, 100% trust. Use his life to trust someone else. That's which is very good. The anime, why I like anime, because the anime, behind the anime, they all have a good meaning about friend relationship, about how do you be honest, how did you be proud, how did you be identify yourself, and lot of good things in anime you can find it. Anime is not just the anime. I think anime is something about can refresh about your life. in life. No, it's not just anime. I know maybe anime, people think anime is fantasy, it's just a fantasy. I say, yes, maybe just a fantasy, but sometimes the fantasy comes from the real life. It's like there's another small group to refresh about a human life, which is can let people know and let human know. If anime can become a good anime, why your life can't become a good life?
Hello, I'm Adam, 23 years old, and I enjoy watching anime. Ever since a young age, I've always enjoyed watching Pokemon. I love the development of the characters in the story. Just like in the RPG games, where the trainer levels up their Pokemon to take on gyms in each region. After that, in the anime, they go to fight other trainers, which are paired up randomly, and they fight to win and become the champion. Obviously, this is based on one character called Ash, who his main Pokemon is Pikachu, so I won't go into any spoilers on that. But I love how sort of like there's a relationship built between Ash and his Pikachu throughout the different regions and series.
Just trying to think of characters that actually I really enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Like Guts from Berserk, because I would talk about him so much. He's the type of character that, like, nothing's terribly easy for him. He just has to kind of struggle through a lot of the stuff that he's put through. And his general, like, philosophy as a character is intriguing in the sense that he is someone who only sees the world. He only kind of, like, views his life as just fighting as a mercenary, like nothing else. He just kills people and that's it. But then later on he finally realizes that that isn't really his purpose in life. Because Berserk was abruptly finished. The manga was abruptly finished because the manga artist died.
Oh wow.
So I'm not sure what Guts' ultimate purpose in the end really was. He was trying to find it, I guess. Yeah, he really struggles to get where he was.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest thing. Like, he goes through a lot of hardship, and also he's not really overpowered that much, really. He is and he isn't at the same time. He wins fights, he loses them. It just seems to be the story's kind of main goal.
That makes sense.
And also another aspect of his character I enjoy is rage. He's a very vengeful, angry character, and it affects him negatively in many ways. I just think because he's genuinely a deep, well-written character, and he's entertaining as well in the sense that he will fight things, and he has a big sword that's like bigger than him, and like he has a very badass kind of cool appearance, and like, but then also his appearance kind of gets worse as it goes on because he gets a lot more scars and wounds as it goes on, and like they kind of show that. Suffering is his main thing. Shonen is a genre of anime made for like younger teenagers, and it usually focuses on a character who is either a child, so mostly a teenager. They're mostly teenagers, they're protagonists, and these protagonists will go through a very long-running story with many episodes or chapters of a manga. And it focuses on them becoming stronger, more powerful, fighting more and more harder, difficult opponents. And it has a lot of themes of friendship and camaraderie and, you know, getting stronger to beat your adversity type stuff. It's very much like that, and it can be a very entertaining genre just because it has so much stuff going on that you can find entertaining. Fantasy has been one of my favourite genres for a while because I feel like I really enjoy fantasy. I really enjoy anything to do with swords and sorcery and anything to do with some sort of character defeating like some sort of Dark Lord or something like Lord of the Rings, or exploring a beautiful world of many different things.
Okay, so why I love anime, or more accurately, why I fell in love with anime, often comes down to narrative structure. In Japanese animation or anime, many stories are told seasonally or long form. And we have anime series, mostly derived from manga, that goes on for several hundred thousands of episodes. And unlike Western animation, those stories all tend to build on each other. And I did learn through anime to really care about international art in general, be that movies, TV, music, more visual art, more traditional art, video games, anything. I did grow up playing a lot of Japanese video games, but yeah, really getting into anime was really my wake up call. The international art always brings a different flavor, and that was what got me into anime. A different Japanese flavor, a window into Japanese culture in a different story structure. I've loved anime now. It's difficult. I've really loved anime like properly as something I've recognized anime for about 10 years now. But going before that, before I understood the term anime, I had been watching anime for like several years before that. Probably for 10 years now is still most of my life. And for most of my life before that, I had been watching anime. Just not knowing the behind the scenes detail. I generally knew it was Japanese, but I didn't know terms like anime and differences. I was like, oh, cool. It's an animation. And as I have grown up, I have learned to appreciate anime in a lot of different ways. I led in talking about story structure, and that was a big thing to me. But other things, just understanding how different people work, understanding the difference in, Japanese v UK v American culture, and the windows that open for me are why I think I'll always love anime. Just because it will always be a window into a different culture, and it'll always be a very broad genre as well. I mean, we all probably think about like Magic Girl or Massive Powers, things like that in anime. But I mean, some of the best anime I've watched over 10 years have been like sports anime or cooking anime. The kind of things that you wouldn't really see in Western animation. I mean, I've never, I can honestly say I've never seen Western animation tackle cooking, and I've honestly never seen a critically acclaimed Western animation about ice skating, and that's always been really cool and interesting to me, and that is why I love anime.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of anime characters that are some of my favourites. I mean, there's from loads of different shows. I mean, I've been watching anime since I was, what, 15? Probably younger? So that's 15, 16 years of anime characters. Okay, well, my favourite genre is easy, and I always like the hero ones. Yeah, I always enjoy a good shonen anime. So a shonen anime is generally, the main character is generally a male, generally a young boy, and it's generally about like some kind of adventure or hero story, like the young boy becoming the hero and saving the world from some kind of terrible thing. There's loads of different ones. I mean, some of my favourites are My Hero Academia, Naruto was always a favourite, Dragon Ball Z, Shaman King was always a favourite, Seven Deadly Sins. There's a long list of them. I can generally pick a favourite character from every single anime I've picked, but I don't have a general overall favourite. Depends on the show I'm watching, or depends who my favourite character is. I mean, from some of those ones, I mean, from Seven Deadly Sins, I'd probably have to say a character called Lord Escanor is my favourite there. I had to think for a second there, but it is Escanor. Shaman King is Yo Asakura. Dragon Ball Z. I always like Gohan. Gohan was always my favourite in that. And yeah, there isn't any one favourite character. But generally, I always like the hero story.
My name is Mahida. I'm 31 years old and I live in Northern Ireland. My favourite anime film is Harley's Moving Castle. The reason I love it so much, aside from the fact that I love the animation and the detail that goes into it, especially the colours and the soundtrack, is that I love Calcifer. I love the English dubbed version, which has Billy Crystal as Calcifer, but most of all I love everything that goes into his character. I think there's a lot to be learned from the film about war and peace, and overall I just love to watch it.
That was brilliant. Thanks everybody for that. Over to you, Josh.
So thank you to listening to all of those videos, and now we're going to vote for our favourite anime characters. So we'd like everyone to participate if you can, and we have put a list together of characters, and you just tick one to vote.
Just a bit of fun.
And a form will come up on your screen, and you just pick. Even if you don't know the character, you might have learned something from this presentation.
We ready, Josh?
Yeah, ready.
Vote away.
Yeah, but what do you all want to vote for me?
Which one?
I don't know. I mean, I know which one I would.
I will vote for Juno with you.
Yeah.
Where's that?
That one.
I don't know that you chose her as a character, but she's not really that well known.
Don't let Travis convince you of what to. Don't let him persuade you to vote for the one he wants you, will you? Guys that are listening.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right, Travis. I was just thinking you were trying to earn your votes for your favourite there.
No, I think it was joint, wasn't it?
We'll see whether or not your character is the favourite of everybody's when the vote ends. So the couple of people left to vote. You're going to have a couple of seconds left, and then if you haven't voted, then you're going to miss out. If you're still deciding, you've got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we've ended the poll. So I'm going to share the results. We do have an all-out winner.
Ah.
You want to talk us through that, Josh?
Well, it should be Goku, not Gozu.
Oh, I tried changing it, you know.
Actually, no. But the winner is Pikachu from Pokemon, which features a little yellow mouse who can do electric attacks, basically. And yeah, he's the mascot for Pokemon, and very, very popular.
And who's his owner? He's a little pet, isn't he?
Well, in the anime, it's a character called Ash in English, or Satoshi in Japanese. Or you can get Pikachu in all the Pokemon games.
And who's in second?
It was Goku. He was on the list earlier. Who's the... Yeah. And then it's Shinji Ikari. And then Juno and Griffith are next. And they're both tied.
So the winner is Pokemon, Pikachu for Pokemon. Travis,
Yeah.
who did you vote for?
Me and Ben did a joint vote. We both voted for Juno.
Oh, surprised me. You surprised me. Well, the winner was clearly Pikachu. So that was just a bit of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, now we have our quiz all about anime. It's multiple choice. So even if you don't know the answer, give it a guess or a go. We'll be using the My Quiz platform. You have to log into that and we'll pop up the link. And there is a prize at the end.
Yeah, we've got a £10 gift voucher for Amazon, so you can purchase some anime if you want to.
Yeah, you can.
So there's the link on the screen. I'm going to post it into the chat as well.
Just do in the chat.
So there's the link in the chat. So you can either have two windows on your screen, or you can log onto a phone or an iPad.
Thank you everyone for taking part in the quiz. Yeah, and we hope you learned a lot from the presentation earlier and our knowledge and experiences. And we hope that we have converted some people into liking anime or watching or finding out more about what anime is and some of the genres. And yeah, we hope you've enjoyed this event.